Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our podcast, Moms on the Move. I'm Jen Wills. Noticeably absent is Ashley Steigerwald. She could not be here, but we have two special guests today. We have Kipra Anderson with Let There Be Mom, and we have my really good friend, Ashley Thomasson. So thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Ashley's really excited to be here. And by really excited, she's not. But we wanted to have you both on, obviously, because Let There Be Mom is just such an amazing organization that, when did you start this?
2007.
2007. Okay,
Yes.
So 13 years now? Wait,
Yeah,
14 years?
14.
14 years
Yes.
you've been doing this. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so we started January of 2007.
Okay.
We're a local nonprofit. We
Mhm.
serve moms and dads who live within our area that have at least one child that is under the age of 19. And all the moms and dads we serve, they have been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. So we go in and work with them to set up their legacy for their children. And by that, it kind of starts with an interview, getting to know them and their whole life and what their hobbies and talents and hopes and dreams are and family traditions and things that they say. And we put that in tangible forms for their children, for gifts for now and for future milestone events that are
Yeah.
yet to come.
So obviously, Ashley, I know we're not going to talk about all the different things, but tell us a little bit about your history of what happened and when you found out you had cancer.
Okay, so I guess I could just say I was skiing out west with my family back in January of 2019.
Right after we got back from the national
Right. We had
championship.
just had a great trip out west. My husband and her family, and went on another trip skiing, and just wasn't really feeling my best while I was out there, and was really kind of nauseous and didn't know what was up. I actually thought that I had altitude sickness. Traveled home by myself to go back to work because I was a teacher and needed to get back. So I was traveling alone, and at the airport just looked in the mirror and noticed that the whites of my eyes were kind of turning yellow, which seemed abnormal. And so I went directly to the doctor when I returned home, and
urgent care, right?
urgent. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I started at a CVS.
Yeah.
Because at the time I also had a respiratory issue, and my husband was like, "Just stop by the CVS on the way home, get a prescription, and go to work tomorrow." And they ended up telling me to go to an urgent care, which ended up telling me to go to the ER, and I ended up getting admitted, and it was just test after test after test to try and determine what was going on. They found a blockage in my bile duct, and just kind of did testing for a long time in Greenville. They got a stent placed in my bile duct, which opened it up and allowed me not to be jaundiced anymore. And then, just months and months of testing here in Greenville. I think it was March when I finally got referred to MD Anderson, and they confirmed that it was actually cancer. It's cholangiocarcinoma, which is cancer of the bile duct. And my actual tumor was in my pancreas.
So stage 3.
Stage 3 at that time. When they did the surgery and got the tumor removed, it was stage 3. Started chemo in May of, 2019, right after my big Whipple surgery. And at that point, thought that the cancer, I was just doing treatments to make sure that it was gone for good. And a year later, so May of 2020, I found out that the cancer had actually returned and had invaded my liver. I had about 6 tumors in the liver, and at this point is when I got connected with Kipra and Let There Be Mom.
Yeah.
So it's been such a blessing.
I know. Actually, yesterday we were talking on the phone, and I said, we'll talk about what Kipra has meant to you. And you said,
I just said you're an angel.
she's an actual angel.
Sent to earth and to the Greenville community. Her creativity, your kindness. You've just provided our family with so much, and it's just truly a blessing.
So you do, again, you say the legacy stuff, and I know that you've provided so much for her milestones, and obviously they're surprises, so we won't go into, but what are some typical gifts that you'll provide parents for the children?
Sure. So there's certainly popular items that people like to do. And then there's a ton that are unique, that are so specific to that family that we go, okay, we'll probably never do this again.
Mhm.
But popular things might be quilts made out of their clothes, or a stuffed animal made out of mom or dad's clothes, letters written to the children, family photo sessions, jewelry. We've done for girls, particularly, I think on the basis of a couple of dads, like charm bracelets that tell the story of the dad's life. So super sweet. So depending on the age of the child, when they get that, they get to kind of look back and, see
Mhm.
all the things that are important to dad, and what he loves. And we're set up to have a lot of hope in
Yep.
the way that families can come to us, and it's a life-threatening diagnosis, not a terminal diagnosis, when
Right.
people can come to us. That being said, we have had a handful of survival stories.
Okay.
And then we've had people, obviously, a lot that haven't beat their illness. So over the years, it's been really neat to see some of those kids come back. And in fact, I have one little girl that is in my 7th grade small group at church. Well, now they're getting promoted to 8th graders. But anyway, she just had her 13th birthday celebration and received her first milestone gift from her dad. So she had received some of the gifts for now, if you will, which she got a thumbprint charm with his thumbprint on it. And she had a pillow made from a shirt. He always wore these white Old Navy t-shirts. So that's been on her bed. And those were, a couple of those gifts for now. But this milestone gift was a charm bracelet that told the story of his life. And her mom texted and said she finally understands like what Let There Be Mom is, and what's,
Yeah.
that this is going to continue. And I received the sweetest little
Where
thank
did you
you
come
note
up
for
with
her.
this idea? I mean, it's just so special. It's just
The organization in
Yeah.
general. So the Lord, I'm completely, I am very entrepreneurial, and have books of, oh, this idea, that idea, and then don't do that because you'll get sued because of that, or,
Yeah.
whatever. And usually, I don't know, I've tried a few things here and there on a whim, but I was definitely at a point where I was looking for something to do, but I also had a 4, 6, and 8-year-old at the time. And I happened to be dusting a picture of my girls at the beach. We go to the beach every year. A lot of families around here do that, your week-long beach vacation. And I thought, what would they remember if something happened to me? And then I researched for a business that did this, and I couldn't find one. And I researched starting a nonprofit and decided I wasn't going to do that because it was very, very busy. And
Yeah.
did I mention they were 4, 6,
4,
and
6,
8,
yeah.
right? Like, woo. So I put the idea out of my head, and that was October of 2006. Sometime in November, I was at church and one of our pastors was preaching, and he said, "Is God asking you to do something that you don't know how to do?" And I said, "No, I'm good." Like, I'm like, "No," because the idea was gone. I mean, I had put that to bed. And a couple weeks later, I was at church and a different pastor was preaching, and he said, "Is God asking you to do something that you don't know how to do?" And my husband said, "Why is he looking at you?" I'm like, "Oh, he's not."
Oh.
But he had to stand up and pray. And I said, "God, if you want me to do something, you're going to have to tell me exactly what it is." And the very next day, I was working, volunteering at the Holiday House at Oakview Elementary, where the kids can come in and shop. And a mom came in and she sat down. And the other moms who were in charge, they were asking me, why is she just sitting there and not helping us? Now, this is my first volunteer experience at Oakview. So I'm like, I have no idea. But I was doing my duty of shopping with the children. Well, the mom came to me and asked me if I could get her child out of class. And she did this several times. And I could not, obviously, go get a child out of class. But then she came to me and said, "He's on his way. What am I going to do? This is his list." And it was 3 pages long, and the children were limited to 7 items. And I said, "Ask the ladies that are in charge." So she went up there and talked to them, and they gave her permission to buy whatever. And so they shopped, and she leaves with her son, and I come up there with the child that I'm helping at the time, and all the ladies are crying. I said, "What's wrong?" They said, "She's sick." And so I thought maybe she had the flu. And so I was like, "Oh, okay." So they said, "No, she's very sick." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll go check on her." So I go out there, and I don't know her name at this point in the story, but she's talking to a teacher. They hug. Teacher goes in the room. Mom turned around, collapsed in my arms, and said, "I don't know what to do. The doctors have run out of things to do, and I think this is my last Christmas with my boys." And I was like, "Oh, I know what to do." and it just kind of all came back. And so being that we were jumping into holiday season, we kind of, pushed it off until January. But I continued to get very clear signs that was what the Lord wanted me to do. That was the path we were moving on. And as everything was being set up to do this, there were just, I can't even tell you the number of times that I was like, all right, we're doing this. God is running this, ship, and I am just like holding on.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going to happen. So,
well, it's such a great thing. And I know, like, it's just such a relief for you.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard that story. So it's, that's good to hear. I just think that from the very beginning of my diagnosis, I know that, my main concern has been my children. I know where I'm going. I have a great faith. To piggyback off of what you said, the Lord has given me so many signs of just his comfort, his strength, and, how he's been right there with me. But it's just, I don't want to get upset, but it's been just a huge blessing.
I know.
So,
and your story, I feel like you've gotten so much more like strong in your faith, and you've changed so much.
Yeah.
Not that you didn't before, but maybe it was like a hibernation. But now it's just like you've helped so many people. I feel like your strength through all this. I mean, it's just, I know it's like truly amazed people. And I know you have your bad days, obviously. I
mean, lots of them.
Yeah. But you have such like a clarity with this whole.
I just talk a lot about my perspective and how it's changed from pre-cancer to cancer. Nobody wants to be diagnosed with something, especially as aggressive and, late stage as this is. But I just pray. And it's just such a blessing to go from, looking at life through the eyes of, oh, I have to go do this. Tomorrow I've got to go to work, and then I've got to get off, and I've got to make my kids lunch the next day, to just, I get to do these things with my children. I get to go out and play with them. I remember, especially like right after my major surgery, it was hard for me to walk afterwards because it was a major abdominal surgery. And the first time that I got to actually stand up and walk downstairs and push Reese and Ellie on the swing, it was just like, wow. Like, I haven't been able to do this in so long, and I can do this now, So it's just been a perspective change. And I think that everybody needs to have some sort of reality to that, and just appreciate what you have.
Said to you.
My mom told me a few weeks ago, she said, Ashley, I would never wish cancer on you.
Yeah.
But it's just, for all of us, it's been such a good thing for us to just have this different lens to look through. So, we're thankful.
Yeah.
And it kind of sounds silly because I tell people all the time I'm thankful for where I'm at now. And I told you, I think once, this is the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
You know?
It's amazing. I mean, I think you do need that perspective and all the things we take for granted, like you said before. And now you just, you have that. And
it's just the small things. Like, I get to have dinner with my family. I'm not sick this week. This is my good week.
Yeah.
Next week I have chemo again. Right now I'm on a schedule where I do it every other week. I think I just looked before I came. This is 39 treatments that I would have done.
It's so crazy. And I know you just had the picnic at the park. Your husband met her.
Yeah.
And it was shocking. He was shocked, right? To see how healthy she was.
Oh, yes.
Which I know is just crazy, but like, you just look like you're not battling anything.
I'm going with the fact that I'm okay, and I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
The days that I feel good, I live my life. I try not to put cancer, in my vocabulary, and we live for the day.
Yeah.
And we're thankful.
I mean, we just had our girls' weekend. We had a great time. I feel like we didn't even talk about it really.
No.
Except when I was like, your port's in my face.
Right. I was on my walk this morning, and, I had a sports bra on that was crisscross, and I'm like, it hurts, know? But unless something like that happens, I don't really notice it. And
yeah. And that was like the only thing that that is different physically looking
right.
is the port. From like 3
I have
years
a pretty big
ago.
scar.
Yeah.
But We stay away from the 2 pieces now.
No one needs to see that.
Right.
Yeah. So like the pre-Ashley, pre-cancer Ashley, what would you tell her?
Slow down.
Slow down.
Enjoy what you have while you have it. I think about, when I was diagnosed, my children were 2 and 4, and I was just telling her I was going through pictures last night. I'm making some birthday cards for them, and I'm using Shutterfly to use pictures for them to have. And, just looking back through pictures, it's hard to imagine that they were that young. Reese will never know me without cancer. She was 2. Ellie, I think she remembers. They talk about their bald mom a lot. They still tell me that I don't have hair, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have some hair now. But, just slow down.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you have when you have it.
Right. I know. I think, sometimes obviously I'm not really good with my feelings. But I like always tell her, I'm always thinking about you, but it's one of those things where I try to constantly put, what you're going through and use that as like a wake up to me when I'm in these like moments of like just chaos with the boys and I'm frustrated and, you get to be frustrated.
And I don't want to say I don't have those moments now.
No,
because
yeah,
life
I'm
is
sure.
crazy. Now they're 6 and 4. And,
Yeah.
I have to remind myself, especially when I'm feeling good. And, this week we're running to swimming lessons and it's, they're in school and it's May. And, I have to I need those reminders too. It's not like I live this perfect like life now, where we do everything the right way. But it's definitely been a wake-up call.
Yeah. For a lot of people, like, again, I feel like a lot of people have just benefited from how strong you've been. Truly.
I don't know what other way you would handle it.
I feel like you could handle it so many other ways. And you're choosing to handle it the way you are.
And that just comes from the strength from God. I want to go back to that because I remember telling my neighbor when she came over like right after I was diagnosed, and it's I don't think people know what to say to you, and I just told her, I said, I've been given this strength that I never knew existed, and I can confidently say that I know it's from Him.
Yeah.
So
like circling back to that, like we've talked about like people's response. Is there something that has been super meaningful and helpful in terms of like a response that people are giving you and things to say, the right things to say versus maybe what's not so great?
I mean, I'm very open with my story, and I don't know that everybody is that way, and you've probably seen the differences, but I would rather someone address the situation than not. A lot of times it comes up in conversation with new people that I meet that just, don't know me, don't know my story, but, in conversation, I'm having chemo every other week, so I can't meet you at the park next week because I'm going to be sick, But I just think as far as support and what to say, there's nothing that you can say that's wrong. Just I think addressing it helps me. And as far as support that it's been overwhelming. That's the only word I've used because I've had so many people in the community, church, friends, people I don't know. There's been gifts left at my front door, cookies, the students that I used to teach. It all, even just a text from somebody means just as much as, a grand meal that somebody has brought to us. It's just the support. I think just to be supportive of one person is what somebody needs. I go back to one of the biggest things that and recently has helped me because I just got finished writing all my thank you notes. And
you and your thank you notes. I feel very outspoken about your thank you notes. I'm always like, stop writing thank you notes. People don't want your thank you notes. You have enough going on.
My group of friends created this generic thank you note that just says Thomasson at the top, and I wrote a little blurb, but I still felt the need to write a note on the back to send them out. I want people to know how thankful and appreciative we are, and it's hard to let that go. Yeah, because we have been so supported. It's just unreal, and we're very blessed to have that because I don't think everybody does.
Yeah, but then it's also people like Kipra who, has made this whole process just like a little bit easier and less overwhelming. Like, you're focusing on thank you notes, not like, what should I leave? And
Absolutely.
like, you're taking charge of that. And I feel like that's just so important.
Yeah, it is important. I think we've been able to see over the years, and it was funny because my husband said in the beginning of this, he said, you will not understand the impact that this is going to have until we get down the road a bit. And he was right. You know, as one of the little girls that we served, she was 10, and she ended up being an intern with us when she was 20. And so she really was very outspoken about just being able to go to her Let There Be Mom items and get to know her mom. And for her, it was a way to, one of the things her mom did was a scrapbook, or had us do, I guess I should say, because, it was, and it's funny because that was very popular in the beginning, scrapbooks.
Yeah.
But then we hit a generation change where everybody else's pictures now are digital. So when I say, oh, just give me 400, you're going, I got to go through 100,000 pictures to send you 400. I don't want that. We don't need this scrapbook. And so, but anyway, her mom had us do scrapbooks. So each of the 3 kids have 3 scrapbooks. They're pretty much identical. But she said that is how she can introduce her mom to people who never met her mom.
Yeah.
So just, and they obviously have multiple gifts, but she just said it how much that helped her cope. And that is really something that we're seeing because, like you said, because of your faith, it's good for you. You know where you're going, right? You know, and I have so many people that have a deep Christian faith that we're able to serve that they frankly are on the good end of the deal, right? They're going to go and meet their Lord and Savior in person, and that is where they're going to be. But there's people that could get left here, right? And how are they going to grieve and get through the process? And what, if you have that strong faith, what you don't want is anything to rock your children's faith, right? You've been teaching them this. You want to keep teaching them this. You want them to know you're okay, and you want to see them again one day. And this is how this is going to happen. And so to be able to continue to speak into your child's life throughout their life, whether you're here or not, is something that is the most important thing that can be happening. So, yeah, I mean, it is a great thing because, of course, we've seen the opposite too. We've seen where people will contact us and say, I wanted to tell my friend, but I didn't. And now what can we do? Or I wish we would have done this, 5 years ago before it was too late to do, and now their children are not able to wrap their brain around this and cope. And since it is an option in our area, that also is something where, kids could go, they didn't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you have a vision for this being bigger than Greenville?
Yes. I always said after my kids moved out, because I knew it would take me away from them, and that didn't make any sense, right? So for me, this has been an ideal job, if you will, right? Because I could make my schedule how I wanted. And I didn't miss a thing, right? It was just, I was just there with them, and no one questions that because it's what we do, right? It's like, oh, I can't just do everybody else's stuff. I have to be with my kids. So knowing that it would take me away from them, I was like, when they're all out, when they're out. So the baby has started college, but they keep coming back. I said they're like boomerangs. I'm like, so when I thought they'd be gone when they all went to college, but not yet.
I'm like, hey.
Yeah. I'm like, it's Friday. What are we doing? I'm like,
for dinner.
Right. I'm like, you again? No. But of course, I love having them all there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So what can Greenville and our community do for Let There Be Mom?
Yeah. So the number one thing is become very familiar with our mission and comfortable with telling your neighbor, your sister, your brother, whoever might need our services, find that comfortable way to do that. Because like I said, it's not about giving up. It's about giving a gift, putting something in place. It's that what if, you just want to put it in place. It's the peace of mind. Like Ashley said, it's, kind of when people talk to her about it, because it's just kind of the elephant in the room,
Yeah.
right? You're going, okay, somebody
Say
needs
something.
to, right? Someone needs to talk about this. We all know it. So,
Mhm.
and just because when someone's diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, whether it's cancer, ALS, or a heart condition, or whatever it is, if they have children, their mind went there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it,
First thing.
I was
yes,
about to say,
First
I mean,
thought.
it would
Yeah.
be the
it's inevitable. So,
And I just want to chime in and say that Kipra has made me feel comfortable. It's not a thing that I would ever take back. I'm thankful that we did it. You know, you presented it to me in a way that was very, you know, you can be here to give these gifts to your children, and if that's the case, here you
great.
go.
yeah.
yeah.
You know, this is not a death sentence. You know,
Mhm.
like we're just planning for the future.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whether someone participates in this or not has no bearing on the outcome of
Mhm.
their illness. It is just a separate thing, right?
Right.
I mean, you have to have had the diagnosis to qualify
Right, yes.
with us, but I have done things put in place for my children, not diagnosed. I think everybody should do it.
Yep.
It's kind of one of those things. But yeah, so it's not, we have no power. You know,
Right.
someone kind of told me that early on that her therapist had told her that, like, you don't have power. If you did, you would have used it to save your husband. And she's like, the same thing is true for us, right?
Right.
You don't have power. You're just making these gifts, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's just something you can do. We don't have life insurance because we want to use it, right?
Right.
But it is nice
Yep.
to have these things in place. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going, ooh, I already have some, wedding shower gifts for my kids. I'm like,
Right.
all right, who's first?
Right, right.
So I
Yeah.
can go to my closet and pull them out. So
Right.
yeah, so there's those things. So yes, so for Greenville to know, how to introduce this to
Mhm.
someone, because we want to work with people early in their diagnosis, so they have the energy and the creativity and the ability to really. We want it to be, want Ashley's legacy to be what Ashley wants, not
Mhm.
what somebody else thinks should be, or
Yep.
we want her thinking clearly, and
Yep.
so jumping in early is fantastic, and
Yeah.
that's what we want people to to do, that, and to know
Yep.
that that's
And
there.
so you're going to have an online auction to raise
Yes.
money
Yes. So
starting June 1st.
June 1st for 2
Okay.
weeks. We have fabulous prizes. So within our organization, we have one other employee, Jane, and she is our volunteer and donor management person.
Yep.
But master prize guru, oh my word.
Are they great?
So there are some great things. Travel, a lot of health, a lot of gym memberships,
Mhm.
some fun jewelry, just lots of things. I think there are almost 150 items on there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's really good. So people can check that out, and they can just go to lettherebemom.org, and there will be the link right there. And
Perfect. And we'll help promote that.
yes, that'll be great. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I know you didn't want to come.
I
dragged you
Only
here.
for you.
Well, I appreciate it. I know, like, this, it's just such a wonderful thing you're doing, and you're the best. So I just appreciate both of you so much, and I can't talk anymore about that 'cause I'm gonna cry.
And I just want to say that I'm doing very well now.
Mhm.
I don't have 6 tumors in my liver anymore.
No.
I have, as of April, 6 weeks ago, none.
Yay.
So it's just a miracle,
Yep.
and my doctors believe that, and I believe that, and I'm going to keep fighting. I
Mhm.
will never stop. And it's for
Nope.
my kids.
And you'll go back in what is it,
July 21st. I have my next scan. Right now I'm going every 3 months, and they're hoping to possibly give me a break from chemo if I have a clear scan in July, which I
Well, so
need.
prayers.
I need very much.
Yeah. So thank you, Ashley, for coming.
Yes.
Thank you, Kipra.
Yeah,
Thank you for
absolutely.
having
Yes,
us.
Yeah.
appreciate it.
So we'll give the information again for the online auction and link, the Let There Be Mom website. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we want to thank our sponsors real quick. Leisa Johnson with Fairway Mortgage. She's a wonderful title sponsor. Wilson Associates Real Estate, Blackacre Law, Parmsmith Archenhold, and Pearl Dental.
Nice.
So that was a full sentence. Thank you again. We look forward to seeing you next time.